Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new National Party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated. Kayak Mass 2020. February 15th to February 25th. An array of events making one spectacular carnival. Saturday, February 15th. Children Mass, Frolic, and the Big Show. Thursday, February 20th. Queen Show Night. February 21st. Soca Monarch. Saturday, 22nd. Chab Convention. Calypso and Groovy. Sunday, February 23rd. Monday, Juve and Monday Night Mass. Tuesday, February 25th. Shakespeare Mass. And the Last Lap. All the major MCs and DJs will be inside Kayak Mass 2020. Make reservations and book now.
Kimpton Kawana Bay says Montrouge Road network upgrade to begin soon. We'll have details to this story and more in the National Report. Welcome back with the details to the news for Wednesday, February 19th, 2020. I am Rikisha St. Louis. Management at the Kimpton Kawana Bay Resort says major road network upgrade will begin in a matter of days in the Montrouge area. Members of the media were informed during an on-site visit on Wednesday that work will begin to improve the existing Montrouge main road to the top of the hill, a process that is expected to last at least 6 months. The Kimpton Kawana Resort is Grenada's newest 5-star resort approved by the island's Citizenship by Investment program. Vice President of Construction, Hannes Lotz, says construction of the resort over the last few months has contributed to the deterioration of the road. He explained that in addition to the road improvement, 128 rooms will also be constructed. Lotz apologized to neighboring businesses and residents for the disruption in the flow of traffic and the inconvenience the construction may cause.
We are embarking on the next phase of the project. The building behind me you will see as almost near the completion, where the structure is almost complete. The final level of the roof is about to be cast. So very soon we will be demolishing this structure that we are standing on, which is the old remains of the Flamboyant Hotel. That may cause the obviously some disruption to the traffic. There will be earth-moving equipment in the area, trucks that take debris out and taking it off-site. We are also starting with our 2 final buildings up on the hill, where we will be constructing another 128 bedrooms or guest rooms, and that construction, earthworks and associated building activities will also impact the roadway where we stand right now.
Construction of the resort has provided jobs for close to 175 Grenadians, with 300 permanent jobs anticipated once the resort is opened. Lotz says construction is on schedule for the 2021 opening.
In 12 months from now, we should see a significant decrease in the number of heavy construction equipment activities using the Montrouge Rouge. Our final opening is scheduled for the tourist season of 2021, which is next year. And we have time to meet that.
Powell, Kirani James, Justin Gatlin, Anderson Peters, Lyndon Victor, Elaine Thompson, Kendra Harrison and Shanika Ricketts are a few of the headline athletes to compete at the 4th Grenada Invitational on April 4th at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. The names were revealed during a media launch at the Greenery Room Radisson Resort on Wednesday. Chairman of the Grenada Invitational Committee, Dexter Mitchell, says the theme for the fourth staging of the Games will be the future, the past, the present, as the road to Tokyo 2020 commences.
We are putting on a world-class event with world-class athletes at a world-class venue. And that has continued to be the mantra. And as Jason mentioned, and Marvin will expound on later on, the quality of athletes who are trying to get into the Grenada Invitational surely ascertains that it is a world-class event at a world-class venue, the Carriacou James Athletic Stadium, with world-class athletes. One of the main reasons, and probably the main reason that has been able to happen, and we are in the fourth year, is because of a wonderful team that we have at the Grenada Invitational. You see the World Continental Games silver logo, which means that the Grenada Invitational has now been recognized by World Athletics, formerly the IWF, as a silver category games. What it means is that we are one of only 10 silver games in the world. There are 10 gold meets and 10 diamond league meets. Our aim after today is to get to the gold level meets, and Marvin will elaborate on that. But it is a major accomplishment for us at the Grenada Invitational and for Grenada that of the 10 silver meets in the world, one of those meets are actually been held in Grenada.
Former Jamaican track star Marvin Anderson, president of the Jamaican Olympians Association, is the athletes' liaison for the Grenada Invitational. Marvin says so far athletes from 20 countries have participated in the Grenada Invitational over the past 3 years, which has added value to the Games and marketed the Pure Grenada brand.
When last year someone like Shelley Fraser Price posted on her Instagram that she's going to be in the Grenada Invitation, immediately within 5 minutes, we have well over 350 of our followers aware of Grenada. I mean, just like that. So these are the type of impact that we have with our athletes. Once our athletes get the name out there, it really brings a buzz about Grenada. And while in some circles, people might not be aware of Grenada, because you think of athletics in the Caribbean, everyone thinks Jamaica. But when we have our athletes come here and they really use their social media platform to really promote their experience and what's happening here, it's mile and value to Grenada that I wouldn't want to put a dollar value to that.
In related news, Grenada's Minister for Sports is applauding the efforts of the Grenada Invitational event, which is now recognized by the World Athletics Association, formerly the IAAF, as a silver category games.
I see this in the context because I have an integral and intimate involvement in everything that went on and continue to goes on with Grenada Invitational. And we have had I say we because of course the government is a key stakeholder. We have had a very, I don't want to say difficult, but an interesting journey to where we are today. And I think with everything that would have transpired, I still think it is fitting and appropriate to recognize persons who would have been there from start and probably no longer there for maybe their vision, their contribution, their support to the Grenada Invitation. I think that is very important, and I want to commend them.
Senator Cox says this is a very important activity for the government and people of Grenada because young people will be given the opportunity to showcase their talent on the tracks.
One of the things that we are very pleased about the Invitational is the impact that it has on our young athletes. We believe that persons coming here and some of the fascinating athletes that I see before, it will help inspire our young and upcoming athletes to want to do better, to want to go farther, to want to do more. And notice that the Invitational is coming just on the heels of the Intercall. That I believe will even add more substance to what is taking place in sports in Grenada.
The Grenada Invitational will begin at 3 p.m. with an estimated finish time of 8:45 p.m. This is the National Report. We'll have more news after the break.
Kayak Mass 2020. February 15th to February 25th, an array of events making one spectacular carnival. Saturday, February 15th, Children Mass, Frolic, and the Big Show. Thursday, February 20th, Queen Show Night. February 21st, Soca Monarch. Saturday, 22nd, Jab Convention, Calypso and Groovy. Sunday, February 23rd, Monday, Juve and Monday Night Mass. Tuesday, February 25th, Shakespeare Mass, and the last lap. All the major MCs and DJs will be inside Kayak Mass 2020. Make reservations and book now.
Welcome back. The Royal Grenada Police Force is receiving assistance from the European Union and Regional Security System, RSS, for its crime-fighting efforts. This with the donation of equipment valued at approximately 100,000 AC dollars. It includes gloves, fingerprint supplies, cameras, protective clothing, among others, was some of the equipment donated. The handover ceremony was held under the theme Strengthening Law Enforcement and Border Security in the Regional Security System Member States. Graham Archer, Deputy Executive Director of the Regional Security System, says that the equipment, which is of international standard, will be valuable towards crime fighting.
With the handover of this international standard equipment, I am confident that law enforcement practitioners will have greater opportunity to apply the professional standards of competence in crime scene investigations, which were imparted during the RSS EU-sponsored crime scene technician course, and further exploit the relationship between crime analysis, forensic intelligence, and traditional law enforcement investigation. Exploiting this relationship can only serve to create further advances in criminal investigations.
While several initiatives that has been executed contributed to the reduction of crime in Grenada, Deputy Commissioner Franklin Redhead is grateful for the contribution and the RSS commitment to develop regional member states.
It is in this context I want to recognize the very important intervention by the European Union through the 10th EDF Fund for enhancing RGPF forensic capabilities, critically important at this juncture. Further, I want to recognize the ongoing efforts of the regional security system in coordinating and negotiating support from member states. It is certainly for negotiating support from member states, this is highly appreciated in light of the extant resource constraints. It is heartening to note that the RSS, rooted in the notion of collectivism many years ago, continues to evolve and adapt to the needs of member states and remains a relevant and pragmatic sub-regional mechanism.
That story just ended the national report for today, Wednesday, February 19th. Let's recap the top story. Kimpton Kawana Bay says Montrouge Road network upgrade to begin soon. On behalf of the entire news team here at the Government Information Service, I am Rakisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.
Mass 2020. February 15th to February 25th, an array of events making one spectacular carnival. Saturday, February 15th, Children Mass, Frolic, and the Big Show. Thursday, February 20th, Queen Show Night. February 21st, Soca Monarch. Saturday, 22nd, Jab Convention, Calypso and Groovy. Sunday, February 23rd, Monday, Juve and Monday Night Mass. Tuesday, February 25th, Shakespeare Mass, and the last lap. All the major MCs and DJs will be inside Kayak Mass 2020. Make reservations and book now.
So we need to get the facts straight. How does this virus work? How does it transmit? Where does it want to go? And let's protect ourselves. I'm Dr. Peter Lynn. I'm a family physician in Toronto, Canada. The coronavirus is a family of viruses that can cause as mild things as just a common cold, all the way up to SARS or MERS. These are these bad pneumonias that we're talking about. And basically what these viruses are, they look like a tennis ball with all these spikes sticking out of it. And depending on the type of spike, it allows that virus to attach to certain places. So some viruses, they have the spike that attaches to your nose. So basically you just get a common cold. But the SARS virus and this new virus that we're talking about has the spike that allows it to attach to the cells in your lung. And when it attaches there, it puts in information to make photocopies of itself. So it uses our equipment to make more viruses.
I'm declaring a public health emergency of international concern over the global outbreak of novel coronavirus.
Most of the coronaviruses live in animals. In this particular case, it was from Wuhan. There was a fish market where they were selling live animals. And the thought is that the virus was in a live animal, then it crossed into a human. But then what we found was that people were getting sick in terms of healthcare workers, in terms of family members that were looking after them, which now meant that the virus can pass from human to another human. Just like all viruses, it needs to reach a target, which is your lung. And it has to get there with your help. It has no feet and no wings. So therefore it needs us to move it there. So that's why we keep saying, don't hang around sneezy people because you're gonna breathe it in. And don't touch your face because that's how the virus is gonna get in. The masks are helpful, but they're not necessary because they're leaky. The ones that you and I buy basically have pockets here, so therefore the virus can get in. What the masks really do is they stop us from touching our face. If you're sick, we tend to mask you, so therefore you're not spewing out the viruses to other people sitting around you. The true people that have the real masks are the N95. Those are sealed. These are for the doctors that may be caring for the patients. So in the beginning, the coronavirus will cause kind of like flu-like symptoms or a cold. So people just get the stuffy nose, that kind of thing. But you'll understand that as soon as that virus starts manufacturing in your lung cells, they're producing all these copies of the virus, all of a sudden now you kill the lung cells. So now you can't exchange oxygen, and that's why one of the early symptoms is people get very short of breath and they tend to have a difficult time breathing, and that's why they end up in hospital. So currently, unfortunately, we don't have a direct treatment for the coronavirus. So we don't have a medication that can kill it off. And so it's really supportive. So in other words, the patient can't breathe, we give them oxygen, help them to breathe. They can't drink, so therefore we give them fluids to support them. Their kidneys begin to shut down, we help them with all those things. So it's a very supportive process. This is a new virus that we've never seen before. So our immune system, our army, are having a hard time figuring out what to do. So usually what we have to do is we make something called antibodies. So these are things that can grab onto the spikes that we see on the virus, and it'll get rid of the virus for you, and that will actually bring you back to good health. So therefore the elderly may have a worse outcome, and of course the young children. So the babies, their immune system is not so good either, so they may not make those antibodies as well. So just remember, your hands may be with virus. Virus cannot hurt you because it can't get through the skin, but the moment I do this, now I've brought the virus right to where it wants to go. So let's remember not to touch our hands to our face. So let's say you think that you might have been on a plane or you might have bumped into somebody that has it. What should you do? So the first thing is to contact a healthcare worker to tell them that potentially you have it. If you're feeling symptoms and you're going to go into a facility, call ahead. Okay, so whether you're calling the paramedics or whether you're calling the hospital or your doctor, just mention that you were on a flight. If you don't have any symptoms, then what we do is a little bit of a self-quarantine. In other words, we can just keep you away from other people, and so you don't go into parties, don't go with your friends, don't go into public transportation. So we can contain it very easily by making sure that you do a self-confinement, so to speak, for the, let's say, 7 to 14 days is the longest incubation time. So after that, if you're feeling well, then you don't have anything to worry about. If we get the facts right, then we don't have to be overly worried, but we do the right things so that we...
25 Shakespeare Mass and The Last Lap. All the major MCs and DJs will be inside Kayak Mass 2020. Make reservations and book now.
morning, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. You are listening to Hard Talk Grenada. A special good morning to those of you joining us on 97.5 City Sound FM, 89.5 CRFM, 92.9 Sister Rail Radio, broadcasting from Hillsborough, Carriacou, and of course 94.9 The Big Bad We Noise Radio out there in Brooklyn, New York. A special good morning to those of you joining us on the live video, whether it's on YouTube or on Facebook. A very special good morning to you. Remember to like the live, share the live, get everybody involved in the conversation. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful morning in the Spice Isle, and as you can tell, I'm in a very, very good mood this morning. I'm telling you, it has been a wonderful, wonderful morning. It's been a wonderful couple of days, actually. You know, I am happy and blessed to be alive, but not only that, to be alive in Grenada is a wonderful thing, where you get up to sunshine and smiles, and the people are so welcoming. You know, we definitely got to be grateful for that. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else in the world but here. Good morning, Shirley. Good morning, Spice Man. Good morning to those of you joining us very early on the live video. Go ahead and like the live, share the live, get everyone involved in the conversation. It is a Thursday, and of course we are going to open the lines so that you can join in the conversation. And this morning I'm going to be talking about something that is very, very dear to me: literacy. It's a big topic. I know the education system, and talking about the education system is a very touchy subject for a lot of us. You know, we all have our own feelings and our own emotions and our own opinions as it relates to what the education system in Grenada is and what it should be and what can be done to make it better. But this morning I want to touch on what we can do, because you know that's what I am big on. I am big on togetherness, you know, cohesiveness. What we can all contribute to making the education system and whatever sector in Grenada it is better than it is now. You know, we all have a part to play. And let's not forget that ever, because it's very easy to point fingers at the next person and say, you know, that is their fault. You know, they didn't do this and they didn't do that. And that is the reason as to why Grenada is in the state it's in. And that is the reason why the education system is the way it is. And we are very good at pointing fingers. But what we're not good at is looking at the four fingers that's pointing back at us, trying to tell us that you also have a part to play in ensuring that things go right in the country that you live in. You know, when you're living in a house and something goes wrong and you want to point a finger and say, it's all your fault, and that is why it's in going right. Guess what? The house is falling on you too. So it means that you need to do something, or you would not have done something to help with the situation, to contribute to making the situation better, you know. And I definitely do believe that we have a lot of power as people, but sometimes we use that power in the wrong way. Sometimes as Grenadians, we only think about a democracy when it suits our purpose, our individual purpose, you know. So we want to jump up in carnival with a G-string on. And guess what? It's a democracy. We can do what we want, right? Because the purpose suits you. But NHI having to be paid for, and their possibility of there being an additional tax to ensure that that is done, all of a sudden is government fault. You know, we isolate ourselves. We take out the word democracy, you know. So we agree with things only when it suits our purpose. We stand together for things that only suit our purpose, our personal purpose, our individual purpose, our emotional purpose. And we remember democracy only when it suits that purpose. But we have to remember that we live not on an island by ourselves. We live within the state of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique, which means that we must contribute to its development, its continued development. It's continued growth. So we can talk a lot about literacy today. I mean, I'm going to give a lot of my personal opinions. I'm hoping that those of you listening and sharing the program will invite your friends to listen as well so that they can share their opinions. And this is what this is all about. It's all about us having a conversation. Don't let me just sit on radio and run my mouth, I'm very good at that. I'm very good at that. I want us to have a conversation. Let's talk. Let me see where your mind is at. You may teach me something and I may teach you something. And this is the purpose of why we're doing this. This is what this is all about. But before we get into that, let me give you your daily coronavirus update. I must give all you a little update. Keep all you informed on what is happening with the coronavirus around the world. It's not at our doorsteps, and we hope that it stays far away. It's not a welcomed guest. We don't welcome it here in Grenada. So let's hope it stays far away. But it does not mean that because it's not at our doorsteps or within our region that we are not to keep informed about what's happening in the international territories. So we are at 30 countries and territories who have been affected by the coronavirus. The fatality rate is still at 2%, all right, which is good. I mean, we want the fatality rate to go all the way down to 0. Nobody dies, but it is still at 2%, which is good. Let's keep it at that level, until we can get it down to 1%. And then no deaths at all. So we are at 75,779 people that have been affected by the coronavirus. 2,130 deaths as a result of the virus. All right? And I need you to listen carefully because I don't want anybody to misquote what I'm saying. I want you to listen carefully. There are 75,779 reported cases of the coronavirus. Off that amount, not in addition to, off that amount, out of that 75,000, 2,130 people have died and 16,917 people have recovered. And that is over a span of 30 countries. The majority of deaths, of course, we know is coming from mainland China, where the virus, it's the hub for the virus, where it was first identified. And we have 2,119 people have died as a result of the coronavirus in that area. 4,579 out of the 75,000 people have been affected in China, in mainland China. All right. Now, of course, we have a lot of territories who have had full recoveries of the people who have been affected in their area. We have India, Russia, Spain, Belgium, Cambodia, Egypt, Finland, Nepal, Sri Lanka. All of these countries have had persons affected by the coronavirus and have had full recoveries. All right. And of course, we have had recoveries of in the tune of 16,707 people within mainland China who have recovered from the virus. Now, of course, we know that the majority of the deaths would be in China, but we have also had a total of 2 deaths on board that ship, the Diamond Princess, who have so far reported 634 cases of the coronavirus, and we have had a death in South Korea, who have had 104 cases, and of that 104 cases, we have had 16 recoveries. So in all of the countries that have been affected by the coronavirus, there has been at least one recovery, except for Sweden, who has just reported a new case, Italy, who has had 3 cases but no recoveries, no deaths, Iran, who recently had 2 cases, and those 2 cases have died, and have an additional 3 cases, so they are now at 5. All right. So all of the countries, apart from those 2 who would have had the coronavirus or would have had coronavirus cases, they have seen recoveries in most of their patients. So we are definitely grateful for that. All right. We got to give thanks where thanks is absolutely necessary. All right. So you want to keep up to date on what is happening with the coronavirus. Like I said, 30 territories have been affected. The fatality rate is still at 2%. So we say thank God for that. And of course, we know that the persons who are most likely to die as a result of the coronavirus are people who are already immunocompromised, meaning they had some underlying issue, a virus, a bacterial infection, respiratory infection, heart condition, HIV, cancer. These are the people who you find, these profiles of people who you find would be most likely affected by the coronavirus. So you definitely want to keep our fingers crossed that it would stay exactly where it needs to stay and it will die out there, you know. But of course, in the event, because we know that right now it's in 30 countries, so we don't know where exactly it's going to come from, you know. So we have to be mindful of that fact. And with that fact in mind, we have to now take all of the precautionary measures that are necessary to keep us safe. I know people are still battling with the Ministry of Health and saying that they need to, but they are not the only people that need to take the precautionary measures. We as well, like I said, we have to band together for things that will benefit all of the people of Grenada and not just a majority or a minority or whatever you want to refer to it as. All right? So you definitely want to pay attention to that. Now, the topic this morning, and I hope not to step on anybody's toes. and I must make a disclaimer at this point very early that I am not in any way condemning anybody. You know, we all have our gifts. We all have our talents. We all try to acquire. We all do our best most times at our jobs. And at least we hope that we'd hope that everybody seeks to see better for our education system. Now, this morning I was listening to a radio program. There was a certain individual there who was speaking about a program that she's doing in the Grandans area as it relates to literacy and helping your children, children in general, to read and so on. And I, first of all, must applaud her, because there aren't a lot of people who voluntarily would do something like that. I'm telling you, she has to have a special love, a special gift. Good morning, Xavier. Mommy told me my son is watching. You know, this morning he had to stay with me. He had a little stomach upset, but I hope he's feeling better. Yes, baby, Mommy is talking about you this morning as well. You know, and I must applaud her because she is doing something that most people wouldn't have the heart to do. Because a lot of us, we sit down in our chairs with all of our education and we talk about the education system and how it's failing our children and how we must do better, yada, 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 yada. But none of us would have the guts to do what she has done. And I must say, a commendable job. A commendable project that she has started to get your children in one place and help them with their reading and so on. And it sparked a thought in my mind. What do we consider literacy? I know a lot of people say, well, literacy is just being able to read. You know, we don't make the connection with reading and writing and speaking and listening, you know, because a lot of us don't understand that the way you allow your child to speak is how they're going to write. The way you allow your child to speak is the way that they are going to write. I hope a lot of y'all are listening. So sometimes as parents, and I want to speak to parents because I know that sometimes teachers do all that they can do in some cases. And we have heard of cases where you would have schools that allow students to repeat a form or so on because they want to see their pass rate at a certain level and all of that. And that is not hearsay. That is something that we know is happening. So let's not pretend that we don't know. Let's not pretend that we don't understand what is happening in our country. Let's not pretend that we don't know that there are a lot of people who take a lot of shortcuts to reach the end of the month. Let us not pretend. Let us be honest with ourselves as a people. Like I said, we're not going to agree because it suits us. We must speak facts and speak it always, whether it steps on a few toes. And sometimes it takes one person to start the hard conversations that a lot of us are not willing to start, you know? And it breaks my heart because there is a serious literacy problem with our people. And trust me when I say serious. And it's not just our people, some of our people not being able to read. Literacy is not just about reading. It's about reading to understand. We have a big comprehension problem in Grenada, you know, and I'm not afraid to say it. And I see it every day when I go on social media and I see people ranting and raving under a post that, one, they have not read properly, and two, they cannot read to understand. They read to respond. So you read something and you think you know what it means, and then you respond to it. And then all what you say is wrong because that is not even the essence of what the person either posted or what the message is. You know, and we have a very, very big problem with comprehension for a lot of our people. So imagine if we have this big comprehension problem with our adults, what is happening to our children? And a lot of the people that you see on social media ranting and raving and not taking time to comprehend or to understand what somebody is trying to say, a lot of them have children. So we can only imagine. We can only imagine what is happening. We have to do a lot better as a people in terms of setting an example or setting a foundation for the children that are growing up after us, that are following in our footsteps, that are watching our every move, that are listening to our every word. We have to set a better example. So, for example, when I go on social media and I see that a government entity posts something, or somebody posted something and you do not agree with it, or you do not understand it, but you forward to making all sorts of erroneous, nonsensical contributions to the conversation, it breaks my heart. Because I feel like as a people, we must strive for better. We must aim for better, you know? And I feel like a lot of us need to stay away from social media for a very long time. And I'll just say it bluntly because I know a lot of you are thinking it and y'all not saying it. Just stay away from social media and take some time to just self-regulate, you know? So I was sitting there and I was thinking, do we really understand what it involves to get a child to a place where they can read and where they can write properly and where they can speak properly and where they can comprehend properly? And a lot of us don't understand that it starts at home. So yes, we go on and on about the teachers and the Ministry of Health and the Minister of Education and the Ministry of Education, and we go on and on and on about how they need to fix the problem and government needs to fix the education system. And no, I am going to tell you, you are wrong. It is not them that needs to fix it. It needs to start with you at your homes. So you give birth to a child and you wait until that child turns 3 to send them off to school so that the teacher can teach that child to read. And what we don't understand as a people is that the foundation of reading must start from the time that child is born. Not even born. From the time that child is in your stomach and is receptive and is moving and can respond to sound and light and all of these things. That is the time that you need to start. You know, that is the time when that child becomes open, excited, about sound and reading and words, so that when that child goes to school, they're already exposed. You know, I'm doing my teaching practicum over the next 6 weeks, and I went to a particular school, and I'm not going to say the name of the school. I went to a particular school, and I'm dealing with an individual child. And it broke my heart. That child is 10 years old, almost 11, and is reading at under a kindergarten level. You know? And it breaks my heart. You know why? Because somewhere along the line, somebody failed that child. And we spend so much time talking about government and politics and party and carnival and what we should and should not wear. And we do not spend enough time ranting and raving over our children. How many parents do you see sit down and read to their children and not just send their children and read as a pastime? How many parents between the age of 0 to 3 spend time teaching their children sounds and the letters of the alphabet and all of these good things? How many parents do that? And there are the few who do it. I'm not going to lie, I do it. I did it. All of the time. I did it with my children. And my children are avid readers. And it's not a boast. Because I know a lot of parents who do that. And I'm seeing a comment here, Mr. Technician, that 97.5 is not on. We're going to look into it, eh? Don't worry, Miss Lewis. We're going to look into it. And I see a lot of parents who do it. But there are a few parents, well, and I'm not afraid to say it, and it's those that make the most noise, that don't read with their children, don't teach their children words, don't teach their children to read for understanding. Because they themselves don't do it. They don't know how to do it. And they wouldn't even try to better themselves. They're comfortable in the situation that they are in and just hope that the education system is going to fix their child. We cannot continue like that. We cannot continue like that. The education system is not the Ministry of Education and the how much ever schools we have in Grenada and the teachers. That is not the education system. The education system is all of us. The education system is every parent, every individual in society that your child comes in contact with. That is your child's education system. So a child finished school and the child still having difficulty reading and so on, and you want to blame the teacher because you send your child to school for 6 hours a day and you expect that should fix the child. No. And then when the child come home, you can't read to the child, you don't want to read to the child, you don't have the patience to read to the child. And then we blame the education system. It don't work like that. You must do your part. As a parent, as a person in society, we have long gone past the time where somebody pull up somebody child in society, because we have become such a heated people that somebody talk to your child and all of a sudden they have offended you and they have offended the child. And instead of you saying to the child, well, you were wrong. You gone in the neighbor yard with cutlass and you want to cuss and you want to fight and you want to get on. What are you teaching that child? You know, a long time ago when my children were growing up, I was on and I don't know if Miss Cammie remembers this, and I was on the terminus and my son was being a boy, a child. But something it was or the other, and I would never forget that. something or the other it was, and he was behaving naughty, trying to throw a tantrum or whatever. And I would never forget that Miss Cammy sat on the terminus, and she took him by his hand, and she started to speak to him. And I stood there as a parent, and I watched, and somebody say, hey, why you letting she tell your child, eh? And I said to him, no, she's doing the right thing. Because she wasn't disrespecting him, she wasn't shouting at him, she was correcting him. And sometimes for a lot of our children, it takes somebody else in society to get through to them. We may not be able to do it as parents, but it might be a neighbor, it might be somebody in society that may be able to get through to your child. But you know, the mentality that a lot of us have is why some of our children are the way that they are right now. We don't allow for other people to intervene. We don't allow for other people to correct. And one of the biggest problems is that we don't know how to mold our children because we have lost our sense of community togetherness, where your neighbor could correct your child. You understand? Somebody here is saying, I humbly believe that the government should bring in a pay-by-the-hour system and watch and see, and you would see how much production we have. I agree. I 150% agree with what this person is saying. Pay them by the hours that they work, by the production, what they produce. Because, you know, somebody could go and sit down in an office or sit down in a school for 6 hours a day, and in that 6 hours they have produced nothing. We have in our education, in our schools now, teachers who are unable to get through to just one child a day. And it happens in all of our schools, where those children, especially in our public schools, where those children who are struggling the most are the ones who are left behind, because the focus is not on helping each and every single child. The focus is on finishing the syllabus. We have 20 things to do for the term, and we're going to do 20 of them. That is the goal. The goal and the mindset is what is wrong with our society. Our goals are misconstrued. We mix up all over the place. We don't know what should be our goals anymore. So you see Facebook and social media abuzz because everybody is so heated and emotional about the fact that SMC say that no thongs and no wire bra and all of that. And everybody cohesive and everybody is together with one common vision. Where is that same kind of passion for our children? Where is that same passion for seeing our children grow and develop? And a lot of people go turn around and say, oh, that's not my job. That is the teacher's job. And it's their job, but it's your job too, because at the end of the day, it's your child, eh? And not only is it your child, but to the people living in the community who watch these children go astray and don't try to intervene. These are the same children that's going to come into your same communities and be a menace to you. And then we say, well, what are government doing about the youths? What have you done to ensure that that child does not turn out that way, to become a menace to you? See, we allow problems to build in our communities. We allow problems to build in our villages. We allow problems to build in our homes. And then afterwards, we pass blame on to the government. We are good at that. We do an excellent job at pointing fingers. But we are not very good at taking blame for a lot of the things that we ourselves are responsible for as a people. And don't get me wrong, I ain't saying that all you're wrong to jump up and make noise if all you want to wear all your tongue and all your wire bra, you know. That is your personal opinion. That is your personal feelings. How I feel about it doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is, the same kind of passion that you have for something like that must be the same kind of passion that you have to see things go good in your country, to see development, to share positivity, to help with the growth and development of the young people who in turn will be the ones to take care of us when we get older. You know? And it's a big problem. It's a problem that nobody wants to talk about because everybody is responsible. You know? And it starts at home. Because if I am passing on the terminus and I see a young girl and a young boy hug up on the terminus, if I cannot speak to that young boy or that young girl and say to her, take your bus and go home, something is wrong. It means that at a home level, that child has a problem. Because there's absolutely no way I could see my Renel and Xavier on the terminus doing something like that and somebody correct them and they turn around and tell them something bad, because I can guarantee that a lot of disciplining gonna happen. You know? We need to reassess and evaluate where we have gone wrong as a society in the raising of our children. So that 10 years down the line, when they graduate from school, we don't have a problem where we're saying, well, what does government have available for the youth? You know? We don't have a problem where we're saying, hey, all them boys doing is sitting on the block and becoming nothing and doing nothing with their lives. We are the ones responsible. Because we must have at some point seen that child headed in that direction. What have you done as an individual to help with that problem? And I know some situations are difficult because you have some parents whose mindset needs changing, who believes that nobody can talk to my child, I must be the only one to discipline my child. But at some point, there needs to be an intervention. Where do we as a people intervene so that we don't end up with a menace on our hands? So I don't have to lock all my doors and windows when I go and sleep, because the same little boy that I said would result to nothing is jumping into my house at 3 o'clock in the morning and going with my stuff. Where do we draw the line and do that assessment? Now, the lines are open for contribution. The number to call is 440-7377 for local calls, 440-7377 for WhatsApp, 347-329-3101 if you are overseas and you would like to contribute to the conversation. You can most definitely do so. Where do we do the assessment? And how do we fix the problem? Like I said here many times, if you see a situation as only negative, then you leave no room in your mind to find a solution. But once you can see even an iota of positivity in any situation, then you are on the road to finding a solution. You know, we spend a lot of time talking about, oh, the government this and the government that and the government the other. There's no opportunities for farmers. Agriculture sector in shambles. That is what we spend a lot of time saying. But what have we done as a people to help fix that? And this is not for the handful of people who actually do something. This is for the large majority of you, and you know who you are, who sit and just complain and say nothing of value to help fix any situation. All you do is continue to add negatives to an already upsetting situation. What do you hope to gain from something like that? And that is what our children are watching. We have a caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Mr. Uncle, good morning. How are everything?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, I'm okay, Mr. Uncle. Mr. Uncle, one of the things again in reading. You know, there's a lot of good readers. People that could read it. But the important thing in reading is to understand.
Of course.
Understand what you read. Because some people will try to rush have a book about 200 pages, rush it within 2 days, and they don't understand nothing that they read. So understanding is key. And I always say to children, people that if you read something and understand it, you will be successful in life. And a lot of people don't be successful in life because they read and they don't understand. Like I always say to people, like, if I said something, right, I know what I said and where I'm coming from. But people, the person who said that to will try to turn it around in a negative way and say that is what I meant, right? But you are the one who said something. You know where you come from, right? And see, when people try to put a different spin on it, right, and mislead people, giving the answer that is what I meant. This is what they will try to instill in the children's life, right? Because you have again where some parents will buy the books. If all the books are in children, and not one day they will go and sit down with their children to open the book, right? Open the book and to encourage them to read. Read, but not only read, but understanding what they read. And once if you read it and understand what you're reading, you will be successful in your life. I have to say to parents, the time we spend it, take time to speak about things that is a benefit to your children, right? Spend more time, quality time in your children, both fathers and mothers. Spend quality time. Read with them. If you're not able to read, send them to some school where the people could help with children. When you look at the benefit, your children is more costly than $5,000. When you educate the child, you spend money on them, and they be successful. They could make more than the $5,000 to spend on them.
Absolutely.
All right, Mr. Duncan, you're one for God bless you.
You too. Thank you for your contribution. You know, and it's not just reading. You know, I've seen it. I've probably done it in some part of my early teaching years, where reading for children have become a pastime for teachers. So everybody, get out your books. We're going to turn to page XYZ, and we're going to read. And everybody reading. Whether they're reading for themselves, or they're reading out loud, they're murmuring sounds, we don't know, because we're making everybody read. And it's a pastime. Or it's an opportunity for the children to be quiet so the teacher can engage in other things. And it happens. I'm being honest. It's not something that I'm making up. It's something that is happening even today in our schools, where teaching is where reading is a pastime for students. You know? How can you expect a child to comprehend the story when you tell them, read the story and just answer them questions? And then you correct it and you find out, okay, 4 out of the 5 questions is wrong. What happened to asking our probing questions before reading? You know? Wow, that's a nice book. That's a nice topic. What do you guys think that the story is about? Allow the children to start putting on their thinking caps. Critical thinking skills. Engage it. And even during the story, making predictions on what they think will happen. You know? And at the end of the story, asking questions. And then we expect children to just read a book and summarize what it is. And that is why we are having so much problems in society. Even with our adults. Reading not to understand, but reading to respond. So you would never understand what's happening in your country. You would never understand what is going on. You would never understand the essence of. You're just waiting on somebody to break it down for you and tell you their version of it. And that is the problem. Because I can give you a version of what I want you to believe. But if you can read and understand for yourself, that is what makes the difference. I mean, we have to do better as a people. We have to do better. Our education system is not just a group of people and a group of teachers. It is all of us. We need to take more time with our children. And I know a lot of parents working 2 and 3 jobs to help sustain their families. But at the end of the day, The most important thing is ensuring that your children are straight, making sure they're okay. Because you can work through, and that's why we end up in a situation where you hear parents telling some children, I work 4 and 5 jobs to make sure that you have everything you need. And yes, but where did the molding of that child happen? And even if that parent has to work so hard, there must have been somebody in the community, in the village, that is able to help with the molding of that child. You know? So that is where we are going wrong as a society. We are jumping up for too much of the wrong things. We are making a lot of noise for too much of the wrong things. Time is changing, things are modernizing, but morals and values remain the same. If you're not supposed to kill somebody, no matter how much the world changes, you're still not supposed to kill nobody. If it is illegal in your country to consume alcohol, 20 years down the line, it is still illegal unless the law changes. The morals and values, if you're supposed to pass in the morning and tell Miss Jane good morning, common courtesy, these things are not things that can be changed. These things are things that should be instilled in our children. It should be almost militant. You know, something that's embedded in them. So when we find issues where our children are disrespectful to their elders and all of that, we must ask ourselves, where have we gone wrong as a society? What lessons are we teaching our children that is allowing for this kind of behavior? What have we done as a society to ensure that this does not happen? You know? It's very sad to see the way that some of our children are turning out. You know, and then when they turn 18 and 19, still a troubled child, we turn around and we say, well, what does the government have in place for our youth? What does the government have in place for our young people? And then we want to blame government and say, well, the crime rate is high because our youths are unemployed. That's not why. You and I know it. That is not the reason why. We have to do better as a people, and we have to do better as a society to ensure that we are doing our part to make sure that these same children don't turn around and become our menaces. You know? The lines are open. Remember, you can call it 440-7377, or you can send us a WhatsApp at 440-7377. And if you are in the diaspora, you can also give us a call at 347-329-3101 and become part of the conversation. Let me sit down here and my mouth. I could do that until 12 o'clock. That's fine. But let's all be a part of the conversation. Let me see where your mind is at. You know? What are we doing as a society to ensure the growth and development of all of our children? Not just some. Not just a few. But all. Not just the ones we like. But all of our children. You know? We have to be mindful. We have to be, I keep saying that every day. We have to be mindful of what we do as adults. You know, somebody was, there was a post on Facebook yesterday And I was watching it this morning. A young man was reading. He was reading, not reading. He was speaking about. He was speaking about a recent event, and in what he said, he was factual in a lot of ways. About the current situation, how a lot of people feel about the costumes, the carnival costumes, and and he made a lot of sense. And something that he said that stuck out to me is that we talk a lot about respect, and then you see us doing certain things, and then we still expect the children to respect us. And somebody commented saying that keep children in a children's place and all of that. But what we fail to realize is that in an age of technology, the world is our children's playground. They are exposed to everything that is posted on social media, the majority of them. And those who are not have a friend who most definitely going to show them. So we have to be mindful about the things that we are doing as a people, because our children are watching. They may not physically stand on the streets carnival morning and see us in these costumes. And I'm not saying don't wear them. Do not get me wrong. I'm not judging anybody. If it's your personal choice, then that's okay. You know? But at the same time, we have to be mindful that they are watching. We have to be mindful. We have to understand that they are watching. And they take a page from our books. They take a page from what we are doing in society. So we must be mindful of the decisions that we make. Yes, it's your decision to make. It's your body. It's your life. You can choose to live it however you please. But remember that there are people watching you. And you have a responsibility to all of the children watching you to do the right thing. You know? So a lot of us make a lot of noise about a lot of different things. We jumping up and talk about shut down the country and strike. You know? When there's an issue, when there's a little issue, everybody excited, everybody want to see teachers on or public servants or any institution as it may be on the streets with placards and stuff. That gets us excited, that gets our blood pumping. But then we want to turn around and tell our children to solve problems amicably. We want to turn around and tell the same children that are watching us not to throw a tantrum, to be respectful, to be mindful. How do you expect that to happen when that is not the example that you are setting? We are only a small nation of approximately 110,000 people. So it's not hard for our children to take example from anybody in society. You know, we have to be mindful of the example that we are setting for our children. Our young ones growing up, our adolescents and our preteens, you know, our young ladies going into adulthood. What examples are we setting for them? Are we teaching them the things that we want to see them emulate? Or do we just expect it to happen? You know, It's a very sad situation, I'll be honest. It's a very sad situation because a lot of our children are falling through the cracks. And we are blaming the teachers and we are blaming the Ministry of Education, and we are isolating the situation to what we consider to be the education system, forgetting that the education system begins with us. It starts with us. It continues with us. It is reiterated by us. If we all take that same vigor, that same excitement, that same strength, and put it into supporting our teachers when they need support inside of the classroom, if we put it into, and when I say support, you'd find situations where a child goes home and says, well, Mommy, Miss put me out of the class, and then Mommy, she vex. Well, what must put you out of the class for? Mommy, I don't know. And you're gone in school to cuss the teacher. What does that teach that child? And then we wonder what has happened. There's a situation in school and the child get flogged. She come home and she tell you, you vex more than the child. You have all sorts of negative things to say about the teacher and about the principal and about the school. And then you want that same child to go back to school or any other school and respect that teacher. How? I just want to know how. Do you expect that to happen? Sometimes we as adults sit on public forums disrespecting our people in authority, our government figures. And then we wonder why it is our children don't have respect for us. Something to think about. We have a caller on the line. Good morning, caller. Hello, caller. Good morning. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, my sweetheart.
Good morning, Miss Jacob.
How you do?
I am good, and how are you?
Well, a good because 97.55 not on, but a day on 89.45. And I get my friend in Carriacou get it to Miss Matterson.
Okay.
Because she couldn't get it on 97. So I tell her, no man, she had to go down the road. I tell her, run down the road, but be careful how you run it for your follow.
All right. Well, I'm happy that you're tuned in.
She gets it.
Very good.
And she's so glad she gets it.
Oh, Lord. Well, that's good. So I'm glad that you're listening.
Yes.
All right.
Go back and tell those other people they can get 97 points. I don't get in that one. And tell them the other number to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sweetheart?
All right. Thank
Love
you,
you,
Miss Jacob.
baby.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Nice.
All right. So it seems that 97.5 is still down. I don't know if it's up as yet. And I'm not 100% sure as to what the issue is. But you can go to 89.5. And we are there still talking about the issues that affect us. You know? Respect has been something that we have lost as a people in Grenada. We no longer know how or who to respect. You know? We don't know how, we don't know who. And it's a very sad day because it means that our children who are looking and taking example from us are growing up emulating what we are radiating. You know? So we want to radiate anger and hostility and violence and protest, negativity. But we want our children to be a ray of sunshine glitter and gold dust. But that's not what they're getting from us. That can't be what they emulate. We have to think about all of these things. You know? Everybody has picked up the slang, well, it's my life. Let me live it how I want. And we have all forgotten that we have a human responsibility to everybody to ensure that we are living good as a person, you know, with everybody. It's just a sad, sad situation. Very sad situation. So you can contribute to the conversation. Remember, you can go on our live video as well and leave your comments and your points there. And we'll be happy to share them with the general public, along with giving us a call at 440-7377, 440-7377 for WhatsApp messages, 347-329-3101. And I have a question. If a child at the age of 10 is reading at below a preschool level, no learning disabilities, who do you blame? Who do you point the finger at? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. You know? Because I know, or at least I think I know, what half of us will see. You know? It's just a very sad situation. There are many, many other children in that same position. So we have identified the problem. How do we now fix it? What role can I play in fixing this situation, in turning it into something positive? What can I do? We have to think about these things. You know, and sometimes we come and we talk a lot about politics and we talk a lot about government, and we are very politically charged. But it's only a front for a lot of people to talk politics and to be negative and to hate one person because they know that themselves they have not contributed much to making Grenada a better place. Apart from contributing the negativity or being good at pointing out all the negatives in a situation, they have not done much. We have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Calling to make a contribution of things I've seen happening in Grenada. Now, I pass through the market every day, and there's a law out which says no one should sell on the sidewalk. Okay? But the people from the market, every time the police pass, you have to ask them to move because they're always out there. When they move, the police gone, they've gone back right. Now, I asking myself if these women have kids, and what do they tell them? How do they try to give them a good esteem? How do they try to bring them up in the right way if them cannot do the right thing? Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your contribution, caller. And it all goes back to what we were discussing earlier. Respect. So we don't respect our policemen and women because we think that they're a nuisance and a bother. So they come and they tell you, or they try to enforce the law. And the same Grenadians who turn around and bash the police are the same ones who turn around and blame the government for the law not being enforced. You know? So you don't want the police to enforce the law, but you want to blame the government for the repercussions of the law not being adhered to. It can't work both ways. We can't want our cake, eat it and still have it. You know? It goes back to respect. It goes back to adhering to laws and rules. You know, I listened to somebody and there was this petition going around about the enforcement of the Litter Act. And I was appalled at some of our own people saying, oh, well, the police doesn't enforce it. I mean, come on. The police doesn't have eyes in the skies. They can't see every time an individual throws a piece of paper on the ground or every time a truck come and dump something in an area. And it's very sad that in most cases, you know, in most cases, you, the person who see the act, quicker take a video and post it on Facebook, or sometimes you don't even take a video and post it on Facebook. Sometimes you just go on Facebook and you set a rant. And your rant is not productive, you know. It's counterproductive because you are ranting that the government should, and the government should, and the police should, when your job must be to post a picture of the vehicle license plate number, tag the Royal Grenada Police Force, so some action can be taken. This morning I was looking at Facebook again. A young lady would have posted a video of her meter, the numbers on her meter running, and talking about who is responsible or who should be responsible. Girlfriend, you're responsible now. You know why? Because in the time that you took to do that, you could have called NOASA, or you could have looked further down your line to make sure that there isn't a leak. You know? But we are very good at pointing fingers, casting blame. We are very good at doing that. But we are not very good at taking ownership for the wrongs that we are doing, for the contributions that we are making, for some of the lawless things that are happening in our country. You know? I think it's time for us to wake up and shake up. And get out of this thing that we have created for ourselves. You know? We have to. Let's take this caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
You don't have to call him back. I don't like to call him back. I was speaking on the type of respect. I want to see consent to the respect. Respect is not something that you take. We have to unrespect. I know, as they were saying, do as what I said to do, but don't do as what I do. But that is not how we work. As parents, as adults in society, we have to be respectful to one another. We have to demonstrate that respect, and we have to be the good example to our children. Because, you know, we cannot tell our children to respect people, but we the parents are very disrespectful to authority. We have to be a good example. I see children do what they live, what they see. Okay, in a home where you see parents cursing one another, cursing their neighbor, this is what the child is going to do. Yeah. And many times we want to blame the young people, but we don't blame ourselves. So we as the adult, we have to grow up our children in the right way, in the spiritual realm, take them to the church. Because even in a typical example, like you go do weekly, you invite some of the parents to church. They will see they're not clothes. They're not clothes, they don't want to buy clothes for the children. But when certain activities taking place, they're spending much money to buy things for the children. So it's where the priority lies. Right? And if you love your children, you will always grow up your children to be respectful to one another.
Of course.
Okay, good man.
All right. Thank you so much for your contribution, caller. We gotta know what our values are as an individual first. If you have no morals and values as an individual, well, we don't expect you to pass that on to anybody, because you ain't have. You know? So we must identify what our morals and values and goals are as an individual before we can even start teaching our children to set goals, to honor morals and honor values, and to have some respect. You know? It really isn't an easy conversation to have. But it has to start somewhere. And with everything, it must start with the realization that there is a problem. And then accepting your part in the creation of that problem. Because we could realize there's a problem, you know. But we taking ourselves out of the problem first. Me, I ain't had nothing to do with that. That is their business. They've caused that and all of that. And then the problem remains a problem. Because nobody wants to take responsibility for their part in the problem. Because again, we are good at pointing fingers. We see a drain in the community block. Well, government are doing their job. Government, look, they have how much wardens. Why government don't make them come and clean the yard? You know? Why they don't make them come and clean the drain? And the water running on your step in it, but you wouldn't take a shovel in your own community to unblock your drain. And these are the realities that we deal with as a people. It's not surprising. Don't say, oh, she didn't just say that. I did just say that. We all have a part to play. You can't see a front door flooding and still blame the neighbor, but you wouldn't take a broom or a shovel and sweep out the filth that is blocking the drain in front of your house, because it's the neighbor that cut the yard and leave the grass in the drain and it wash down and it block my thing, so the neighbor had to come and clean it. No, you could tell the neighbor it's their fault, but are you going to just leave it there? And then 2-3 weeks of rainfall after, and there's a big hole down the road, and then you're saying government responsible for not fixing the road. But you're not taking ownership for the part that you have played in there being a hole in the road in the first place. And that's just an analogy. These are the things that we deal with. You know? So when a child does something wrong and we correct them as a parent or as an adult, and they turn around and say, oh, well, it's not my fault, you wonder, how could you say it's not your fault? What is the thought process in you arriving at it not being your fault? But as a parent, you yourself has never taken ownership for nothing you do yet. Even in our own homes, as parents, we do something wrong and we ain't saying, oh boy, Johnny, you know I'm wrong. Mommy, sorry. We don't do that. We prefer to beat our chests and play the adult in the situation than to cower and say, son and daughter are wrong. That is a teachable moment for a child, you know. It teaches them to show ownership for something that they have done wrong, because you yourself have identified that you have done something wrong. We have to do better as a people. We have to rise above the stigmas, the misconceptions, the negativity floating around, and just do better, because we know better. We have a caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Miss Duncan.
Good morning.
and a pleasant morning to your listening audience, like we like to say in the Northwest, in St. Andrew, both yard and abroad. Now, Ms. Duncan, on the issue of children, you know, I have to say it. One of the things I find is that I find too many people making children that they cannot take care of. You know, because sometimes when you look at the kind of assistance that has to be provided for some of these children, without that will be chaos in society. You know, and then again, you cannot take care of your child properly, yeah? Right. But somebody will give the child a toy for Christmas, and they have the most complaint about the toy that was given to the child that they did not buy. They don't see it as, you know, that person trying to meet them halfway. Because I always have to go back to that point in my life. You know, when my wife wanted 2 children, and Miss Duncan, after having one, and she realized what it was going to take in order, you know, to give this child the best opportunity in life, she had also cancel out the second one. Well, cancel it out for a number of years. And I believe by the time she decided, well, maybe it's a good time, well, you know, they say, what jelly can make oil. No, but this is my point I really want to stress quickly. I'm not take up a few minutes now. Ms. Duncan, I categorize myself as a man with good common sense. So you can say, let us say, lacking many academic abilities, but one with good common sense. So, you know, I know right from wrong, up and down, left and right, good and bad. You know, I know the differences with envy, jealousy, you know, and hate. I know love, I know hate. I know the good thing. You know, I know good, I know bad. No, Ms. Duncan, so listen to this. I have common sense. Eh? So even if I don't support this government, I should know that this present government have performed much, much better than the last NDC administration. Because listen, I'm living here. No, because I can see the differences. One, I can see more people are working now. I can see more construction taking place. I see people buying more new buses. Why would you buy more new buses, $100,000+? Because the movement of people to and fro is there. Now, in the new buses, even people that support the NDC in the bus business buying new buses. I see more ordinary brothers and sisters buying very good used vehicles. I see progressive steps taken when it comes to healthcare. I can see the less fortunate, like I said this morning, you know, receiving the payments on time. You know, I see public servants receive more benefits now that was not possible before. I know we are more successful in sports now. I see the expansion of business and new businesses. I can see millions spent in scholarship for our people. These things was not possible before. Ms. Duncan, what caused them to be possible now? It is all as a result of that kind of prudent management and leadership that has been exhibited by Dr. Mitchell and the NNP. And that's why in the Northwest in St. Andrew, our political motto for the day is performance beat old talk. Ms. Duncan, I thank you for the time.
All right. Thank you so much for your contribution, caller. Always a very succinct contribution. I really hope that I know there are a lot of people who will take this conversation with good heart, but I also know that there are people who will try to poke holes in what is being said and try to make it sound as if you are trying to take blame away from somebody else and so on. That's not the case. The case is we must all take responsibility for the part that we have and have not played in a situation that has caused it to escalate to where it is. And that is something that we must be very, very mindful of. Sometimes it is your lack of contribution to a situation that makes it worse than it should be. Just think about that for a moment. We sit and we talk and we complain and we nag and we whine and we blame and we blame and we blame because we are good at casting blame. When are we going to flip the script and start saying, what can I do to help? You know, as the previous caller was saying, he doesn't understand why people have children that they cannot take care of. And I mean, I'm going to disagree with that statement for a moment, because we never want to point fingers at somebody's situation because we don't know the circumstances surrounding it, right? There are a lot of different circumstances surrounding a lot of things that happen, you know. But as a people, we must take time to understand. And I'm not saying go around in every house in Grenada and mind nobody's business. I'm saying that before you point a finger and say, hey, oh, why she having out so much children for and she can't mind them? No. Look at the circumstance surrounding her situation. And if you can't help, if you don't want to help, if all you can contribute to the situation is a negative comment, then your contribution is better kept in your head. And we must always understand that. Not everything needs your input, your say, your contribution. Because sometimes you say something they make no sense, you don't understand, and you just end up offending that person. You know? But we must always strive to assist where we can. So she might have 4 and 5 children. We don't know what the circumstances. But if we can find someone that can help, or if we ourselves can help, maybe that young lady just need a friend, a positive friend. See, we never think about things that way. Maybe she just needs somebody to talk to. What about that? Maybe she never had somebody to show her how she's supposed to behave. Nobody to teach her those values. Nobody that emulated or radiated the kind of positivity that she needed for her life to be better. So we don't know. So we cannot judge. But what we can do is contribute to making that person's life better. And if we cannot ourselves, we must know somebody who could. You know? So we speak about patriotism, we speak about togetherness as a people, we speak about democracy when it suits us. But have you really shown the characteristics of a patriotic Grenadian? You know, when people come from all over the world, our tourists come to our island, they love our island, not only because it's beautiful, but because the people are so friendly and so warm and so welcoming. Because we radiate that to our tourists and our foreigners. But how many of us use that same effort for our own local people, for our neighbors' children. How many of us do that? Quite sure it's not a lot. You know? So a lady passing in the road and seeing three boys on a block and saying, watch them now. Huh? Gangsters, they'd never turn out to be anything. Or a man passing, a few boys sitting on the block, drinking and talking and laughing, and turns up his face. Has he ever approached them and say, what's going on in your mind? You know? What do you think you want to be? What are you aspiring to be? What are your goals? What are your aspirations? What excites you? What are your talents? What are your skills? Are you interested in learning a skill? Do we ask these kind of questions? Or are we waiting on government to do it? Are we waiting on the Imani program and the Empower program and all of these programs to fix our children, to fix the children in our communities, when we have not even tried ourselves? You know? When we have not even shown an iota of interest in the development. Something happened and you're quick to point a finger and say, I always knew he'd be a gangster. I always knew he'd end up in jail. But you never know what one conversation can do to a young man's life. What one opportunity can do to somebody's life if you only just show that you care. If you only just sit and have a conversation with that person. It really is something to think about, you know? Yeah, I like all people. I'm sorry. I don't know how to be angry with somebody for very long. My friends would tell you that. I just don't know how. It's difficult for me to stay angry at somebody, you know? I just want to talk to everybody. I wish I could just hug everybody. You know? I wish everybody could be my friend. And I just don't know how to be anything else. You know? So I'd see a young man and I want to know, well, what really going on in your head? I'm friendly with everybody. As long as you're respectful and you know your boundaries and thing. Me and you would have no problems. I can argue today with somebody heated about something and tomorrow it was like it never happened. That's just me. Everybody isn't that way. But it isn't a hard thing to do because you know why? In me, I see the good in everything. And we may disagree on a lot of things, but I see it as personal opinions. And sometimes we take too many personal opinions to heart. So we hold a lot of grudges because of things that don't even involve us, because of things that we don't even contribute to, because of political affiliations, because of the party that you support. We hold a lot of grudges against people. And at the end of the day, for what? What does it benefit you? Other than hypertension, you know, and the occasional frown on your face when you see that person and thing. What else does it benefit you? Nothing. You get nothing out of it. So we really have to do better as a people. We have to start understanding that we all must contribute to our growth and our development. And I feel like I can't say it enough. I just can't say it enough. And we look outside at other countries and other people and at the things that we think that they have. And the things that we think that they have achieved. And we look back at Grenada and say, what Grenada do? But let's be honest. What have you contributed to the growth and development of Grenada? What have you done to help fix your communities and your villages? Some of us not even living good with our neighbors. You know? We have to start coming out of this place and start showing what the true Grenadian spirit is all about. Togetherness as a people. In all aspects of the word togetherness. So we can start building a better foundation for the children who are looking at us. You know? But that's just my thought. Guys, we have run out of time. But of course, it's always a pleasure speaking with you. In whatever you say and whatever you do, be safe, be secure. We always want to be talking with you and never about you. Enjoy the remainder of your day.
Kayak Mass 2020. February 15th to February 25th. An real event making one spectacular carnival. Saturday, February 15th. Children Mass, Frolic, and the Big Show. Thursday, February 20th. Queen Show Night. February 21st. Soca Monarch. Saturday, 22nd. Jab Convention. Calypso and Groovy. Sunday, February 23rd. Monday, Juve and Monday Night Mass. Tuesday, February 25th. Shakespeare Mass. And the Last Lap. All the major MCs and DJs will be inside Kayak Mass 2020. Make reservations and book now.